sea, sail home, sweet home, where the ships must go to get all cleaned up and put away.
Welcome. Hello. Happy Friday, everybody. Let me get that off. Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. My name's Caleb, and I am an advocate here with Galt Advocacy. And like always, let me know if you can hear me okay. I got a microphone plugged in, and there's always a technical difficulty somewhere along the line. So, let me know if you can hear me okay. We've got a really interesting topic, something that, like most of our topics, was brought based on some concerns that have been shared across Facebook and some of our other online resources here. And so we're going to take a look at some of these things today. Welcome to those who are watching either on Facebook or on YouTube. I'm glad you're here. Like I said, my name is Caleb, and I'm an advocate here with Galt Advocacy. We talk about all things special needs related, regional center stuff, IHSS stuff, IEP support, kind of all that stuff. And thank you for the likes already. I appreciate it, everybody. If you can like the video, share it, tag a friend, tag a support group. That goes a long ways with spreading some of this information, especially about today's topic. So today's topic, if you see, I'm actually just going to go ahead and put the banner on. We're going to be talking about law enforcement. And also, we're talking about the master plan, which I didn't include in the banner. Let me add one real quick. Master plan. For, is it the developmentally disabled? Is that how it is? I think that's what it's called. We're going to talk about that a little bit. So let me get this set up here. So yeah, we've got a couple of things, but primarily we're going to be talking about a very big concern that we've actually brought this topic up before in the past. It's been a long time now, but I'm glad that we get to bring it around and we get to hear your thoughts, because I would love for you to share in the comment section or message us online a little bit about maybe some thoughts and ideas that you have about utilizing law enforcement and or utilizing tools and tips and tricks so that we know how difficult it is to raise a child with special needs. And having that factor of law enforcement come into play is pretty scary, right? That unknown, right? If there's an interaction that happens in the future, how can we ensure that this law enforcement officer or EMT is equipped to understand this individual's unique needs, right? It's gonna be very different than maybe probably what they're used to, right? So we're gonna talk about some exciting things that can be hopefully bringing some peace to our minds about a plan that is in the works. However, this plan is also gonna require you to do some homework and some legwork to put it into practice, into play. And so I'm excited to talk a little bit about this stuff. Master plan for developmental services. Yes, I think that's what my master plan banner says. Yep, master plan for developmental services. That's what you said, right? Yes, and I think I spelt it right. We're good. We're solid, everybody. All right. Again, happy Friday. I hope everybody's doing okay. Let me know in the comment section. This is also going to be kind of open door to you guys as for, what you know about the master plan, what you know about some of the things that it has to say in regards to what they're planning on doing for the developmentally disabled and how we can maybe get excited a little bit about it. So I'm curious to know if anybody's heard of this plan, if you've read through it, if you've watched any of the videos on YouTube or here on Facebook about it. So please let me know. I want to hear your thoughts, because I'm still learning about it too. And so you might have come across something that I'm not familiar with, a part of the plan. Okay, so we're going to jump into, to start, when safety turns scary, right? So we're going to talk briefly about the law enforcement aspect of your day-to-day when you're raising somebody with special needs, specifically maybe a child with autism, a young adult with intellectual disability or Down syndrome, and then transition into how this master plan may be really helpful moving forward. So I have a story to share real quick. It's just a brief little one paragraph blog that I'm going to read real quick. And it's from an experience that a mom had with their child who has Down syndrome. And so I'm just going to read it to you real quick. One night, many years ago, I woke to a phone call from the police. My 10-year-old daughter with Down syndrome had been discovered in a stranger's home a mile away. Can you imagine? The homeowners heard someone in their living room rifling through their DVDs at 3 a.m. And so naturally, they called the police. Thankfully, this became a funny family story and not a tragedy. I know many families are not as fortunate. So I share that story because that story probably will strike a chord with certain people, some who maybe experienced something very similar, or that is like their worst nightmare and they hope to never experience it, right? And so, funny thing, not too funny, but this story comes from Myra Galt. So Myra Galt is the founder of Galt Advocacy, and that is a real story that happened 20-some years ago with her daughter who has Down syndrome, Emily. And the funny part about this story is as some of you may know, I am one of the children of Myra, one of the members of this tribe here. And Emily, the child with Down syndrome that she's referring to, is my big sister. And so I was a child at this point. So I don't remember the story in detail, but what I do know is that when the police called, really what happened is Myra called the police and she said, "Oh my gosh, it's 7 a.m. We're all waking up right now. We just realized Emily's not here." And the police officer said, or she said, my daughter's missing. My daughter's missing. She's got Down syndrome. And the police officer said, "Is your daughter Emily by chance?" And she's like, "Oh my gosh, yes, it is." "What do you know?" And they're like, "Yeah, we picked her up hours ago. You know, she was a mile away in this home, whatever." And so when she was kind of met with this like judgment from the police, like, how could you lose your child? And they have Down syndrome. You need to watch her better, right? That was kind of the message. But then she gets to the police department and they go, "Oh my gosh, we're so sorry. Emily is safe. We've lost her about 3 times since that phone call with you. Please take her home." And so that's why it is kind of a funny family story now, because Emily she was a big eloper as a child. There's actually several stories of her eloping from home and being very, very sneaky with it. And so that was one of the really scary ones. But yeah, it is something we get to learn from now and share with you on how we can avoid that. Now, we're going to talk about the police officers in a situation like this. So with this master plan for the developmentally disabled community, they're rolling out some trainings that are going to happen where officers, law enforcement, EMTs, people who are involved with the community who are going to be responding to calls of these individuals or stopping them in the street if there's something suspicious happening or whatever. The hope is that there's this 10-year goal to implement new strategies on how to train these individuals who are first responders and law enforcement on how to manage and understand this person's unique needs. And so, Jeanette, good morning to you. Or Janet, not sure how you pronounce it, sorry. But pretty cool. So that's one of the big things that stood out with this master plan that we're excited to talk about, because it is something that is a big topic that is mentioned often online about, you know, the scary interaction. I know I have stories with clients that I've worked with who the police, you know, stopped this adult individual with, you know, very profound autism, and it was very scary because they didn't understand how to manage this situation. One of my clients in particular, actually, that I worked with a couple of years ago, he's a grown man, again, profound autism, nonverbal, and he was walking around the community at night. He eloped from home and he started to bang on some of the neighborhood doors. He wanted to go inside. And the police were called, the police showed up and guns were drawn. They were, you know, hey, there's a stranger here, a grown man trying to enter into people's homes, right? And so he was arrested, but very quickly they found and discovered that he was autistic. And so thankfully there was a plan in place for this. They knew who he was because this mom who was caring for this individual made it very clear that she has a son with profound autism. And when the police officers kind of looked him up in the system, they saw that there was some notes about this individual, and that if they were to come across him, they would know what to do. That is big. And so I'm going to recommend that to everybody. That I'm kind of jumping ahead a little bit on my outline that I'm going to be sharing. But yeah, that's why this topic for us is really, really important. And we're excited to share a little bit more. Rosita, good morning and afternoon and good evening. Hello to you. Happy Friday. All right. So for families with developmentally disabled loved ones, this is going to be really important for you. Okay. And so what the changes are going to be happening, we talked about that briefly. So there's going to be standardized training for law enforcement and first responders on how to recognize and respond to these individuals with intellectual disabilities and other, right? So that means that the state, police, EMTs, and other first responders will all be equipped with recognizing the signs of autism, dementia, and other disabilities. They're going to teach them how to communicate effectively during these high stress situations, which we already know is difficult enough in your own home with your own child, right? And so the training on this, I think, is going to have to be really, really important. And hopefully they nail it down. And we're going to talk a little bit about maybe how we can help them with that. I'm going to get into that here in just a moment. Priscilla, I get so scared for my son who is 15, but yet he has intellectual disability. And sometimes when he is in a situation, he doesn't even know what to do. I think a lot of people can relate to you, Priscilla, on that. Thank you so much for sharing that, by the way. I'm so glad you're here. If anybody can relate to Priscilla, let her know. Let us know. Yeah. And so in a situation that he may not understand, again, going up against, or not up against, but having that interaction with a first responder or law enforcement officer who's maybe armed and trying to protect the community, if they are not equipped to understand that person's needs, then things can go south really quickly, right? And so we hope and pray that, Lord willing, that your son never gets in a situation like that, Priscilla. And I'm curious to hear if you've had any interactions with the police, or if you've done anything to maybe any preventative measures, right? Connecting with your local police department ahead of time. And again, I'm going to share some ideas on that if you guys haven't already. Okay, so another thing too is that they're going to have some tools to be able to react quicker when needing to notify, like a mental health facility or a disability specialist. So this master plan is also going to include some additional resources for these families or for these officers and first responders, so that they know where to turn to, right? If they're in a situation where they're not equipped to handle it, they've had some basic training, they're de-escalating the situation, they're trying to get this individual safe, but they don't know where to turn to, then there's going to be resources for them to do that, where, again, facilities or disability specialists that they can reach out to and seek support on. And so I think that's huge. And so I'm really excited to see how that training goes, and how that's going to be put into play. All right, so excuse me. We're going to talk about some solutions, some ideas for you, where if you are in a community where this is possible, you should maybe do some of these things that we're going to talk about to help the law enforcement and help these first responders while this master plan is taking effect. It's going to take a long time for this to probably happen. It may take many, many years for these officers and for these first responders to get the appropriate training that this master plan is hoping to provide. And so in the meantime, what can we do? What can we do to help? So, Teresa, if anyone's watching or has a story to share or a tip for how you prepare your disabled loved one, how to interact with law enforcement, vice versa, please share it. Let's support each other. I agree. Thank you, Teresa, for the reminder. Appreciate it. All right. I also didn't get any comments about whether you can hear me or not. I haven't used this microphone in a while, so I'm going to assume we're good. I know that's super annoying. I do that every single time, but I'm going to keep doing it. I don't like technical difficulties. Okay. Step number one, or tip number one, if you will. An ID card is something really important for anybody, right? So if we were to get pulled over, I have a driver's license. So if I get pulled over, I have an ID ready to go. This law enforcement officer, first responder, they should be able to figure out who I am pretty quickly, right? I know that people who are developmentally delayed or have Down syndrome or, something to where they may not need a driver's license, how are they going to be identified if there's an event where a first responder or a law enforcement officer has to figure out who this individual is? And so I know a lot of you who have regional center, connect with regional center at a really young age for your child, where they can have ID bracelets and necklaces and like kind of these tags that have personal information about who they are, who to contact if found out of their home, right? So I think that's a really good thing if you can implement it. I know with my brother, I have a brother who's profoundly autistic, also has autism. Also has Down syndrome. He's nonverbal, still in diapers, in his 30s. And we've tried the keychains, we've tried the necklaces, we've tried the ID bracelets. He won't. It's just not happening, right? It's being chucked into the next house next door. But we will have to get creative with him. Thankfully, he's not in a position to where that'll probably ever happen. But I understand how difficult and how like easier said than done that might be, but I would definitely do some research. There's programs like Take Me Home Registry, and that's offered by some police departments. It depends on your county, it depends on your city. So reach out to your local police department and see if they have any like ID type programs or agencies or registries that cater specifically to disabled individuals or mentally impaired individuals. You can also just create one yourself and somehow put it on their person. If they have a wallet or a purse, I know my sister Molly, she never leaves the house without her massive purse bag. Now, granted, this purse is filled with nothing but 15-year-old Barbies that she's messed up with and are pretty gnarly looking, but it's still something she has on her person. You could sneak a little ID card and something like that. I don't know if your child or your loved one carries a purse or a bag or whatever, but just some thoughts, okay? Thank you, Priscilla. That's all I needed. Appreciate it, guys. Oh, and Jeanette, thank you. And Rosita, thank you. Appreciate it. All right, Jeanette, you said yes. It's called If I Need Help. Regional Center does cover it, and they give you bracelets, ID cards, keychains. Yes, exactly. So if you're interested in that, I know Regional Center can help cover those things. So check out Regional Center, check out your caseworker, or reach out to your caseworker and see if they can maybe help you with that. And again, you can also call your local law enforcement, police department, and see if they have any registries or things that they can have directly in their own system. That can also be really helpful. Okay. And keep the comments coming. You guys have great points, great advice, and questions. I love to see it. And I know a lot of those who are newer to these streams or people who come every week are looking for what you have to say as well. So please drop any thought you have in the comment section. Share the stream if you can too. Tag some friends, tag some support groups, so we can get some more people in the stream every single week. Okay. Now, let's briefly talk about setting up a safety plan with your local police department. So we've talked a little bit about how you can maybe utilize them, right, by contacting them. So we're going to talk about that. Call your local police or sheriff's office and ask to speak with the community liaison or mental health crisis response team. That's a mouthful, I know. Your community liaison or mental health crisis response team. So every police department, most police departments or sheriff's office should have some type of division or department that specializes specifically in mental health and disabilities. And so you should be able to speak with an expert there and ask them about protocols in your own county, your own city, and ask them, hey, what are some best practices? We live in the community. We want to feel safe in the community. However, our loved one, our child, our adult loved one has a developmental delay. And we fear that if there was a situation and first responders were called, this is probably what would happen. And we want to make sure that they're safe in that moment, right? That mental health expert, crisis expert should be able to explain to you what their protocols are and what their current training is and how they would handle that situation. And if you want to give them advice, if you want to give them tips, they're going to be open to that, right? And so they may not put it all into play, but I would highly recommend learning about what your local police officers and EMTs and first responders are being trained with currently. Because we know this master plan is great. It's going to have some great stuff in it for training, hopefully. But it's going to take some time for it to really, do its thing. And so find out what is their training now. Do they have any training at your local sheriff's department or county's office, right? and provide them with some advice. Share them about who your child is, your loved one. Share with them about some quirks and some things that they may not know about autism or a developmentally disabled individual, right? Another option is obviously teaching your loved one as they are able to on how to respond, right? So naturally, this is tough for those who have somebody who's, again, more profoundly disabled, like my brother, right? You can't teach him what a police officer is. You can't explain to him what 911 is. That's not something he would register or understand right now, right? But if you have a loved one who may have some basic, skills comprehension-wise around this topic, maybe you can kind of teach them some of those best practices that we're talking about. Now, on the flip side, I have worked with a lot of people where their child or their adult child or loved one gets infatuated by this topic, where it's not that they have a lack of understanding or anything like that. Oh, they get it. They understand. And they sort of don't understand how to implement it. And so I have had some clients and some families that I worked with where their child will call 911 daily, right? There's an incident that's happening outside on their front yard. Neighborhood cats are fighting. Got to call the police, right? And so again, this is to each their own. This is what works best for your household and your loved one, right? But if you feel like you can at least try and teach them at a young age and kind of grow with them on that topic, see how it goes, right? I think that's a pretty good tip just in general, as best you can, right? As they are able to. All right, we got some comments. Let me address you guys real quick. Vilma, they don't fund much anymore, the Alta Regional Center. So Alta Regional Center does receive funding. As far as like how much they are receiving, that is not something that we should worry about. Regional Center is not going anywhere. They do have ample funding. The issue is effectiveness and action. So Regional Center struggles with action. And so they have the resources and the funds to make something happen, but they hoard it. And they don't have the resources and people to put those things into action. But hopefully Regional Center can be funded even more, right? So that more and more people can get the help that they need. Rosita, sounds like my Sebastian with a huge backpack full of stuffed animals. We all know it. We all know it. I swear. My sister Molly not only will carry this purse with her Barbies that she's had for years and years and years, I'm going to out my sister a little bit. I don't care that she has Down syndrome. I'm going to pick on you whether you are a sibling with Down syndrome or not. She's still my sister. She's a klepto. She's a klepto, big one. And there have been several times at the store where Molly is just kind of, walking up and down the aisles and grabbing something and sticking it in her purse and say, oops, I'll pay for it. Money. What's that? Molly, come on now. Come on. Really? There was a time where I was picking on her a little bit. Obviously, I'm nice to my sister. I'm not a bully or anything like that, but I was teasing her. I saw her purse and I was like, what the heck, Molly, what you got in here? You got a checkbook? What's going on? And as I'm digging through and I'm pulling out these Barbies that are all mangled, she loves them. I'm giggling with her, whatever. And I'm like, Molly, this is so silly, but I love it. Great. These are your Barbies. You got to bring them. They're important, right? And I'm getting towards the bottom and I start seeing junk, but it's not just junk. I see my iPod that I lost 10 years ago. And Molly has had it in her dang purse for however many years. It's not the same purse that she's had either, meaning she's had to transition purses with items. Anyways, I love Molly. I love my sisters. But silly story. Moving on. Andy, my son is not trusting towards Leo. My son is not trusting towards Leo. I'm often concerned for the situation. He's high functioning, and yet he needs supports and often does not understand that most officers are good persons. I do like the idea of making our own card or something. He is not a client with Regional Center, as he was not diagnosed until he was an adult. So it's okay if you get a diagnosis later. You could still try for Regional Center again. I would recommend it. If you haven't already, you might have tried it multiple times. I don't know. But yeah, the ID card I think is a really great idea. Again, it may not work for everybody, but I think give it a shot. Rosita, he's 31 and autistic. Oh, Sebastian. Oh, Jeanette, Beautiful. She linked a support and need help.org. I'm going to look that up myself. If anybody wants to check that out, go for it. Teresa has another tip. Here's a tip. If anyone has a county who wants to know how better to restrain somebody with an ID, I saw a video from another country where they are using weighted blankets and Velcro instead of handcuffs or knees to the chest for restraint. Love it. I know a lot of people are utilizing those own things in their own home to de-escalate and to help regulate this person's emotions. Don't be afraid to share any ideas that you might have with law enforcement. A couple years ago, when we did a topic like this here on Facebook, I was doing some research and I was in a parking lot, or I was going into a store somewhere, and I saw an officer, and so I was like, you know what, I kind of want to share with him some thoughts that we have here, and maybe he can give me some tips on what to talk about. And so when I approached him and I asked him about this topic, he shared that the county, the sheriff's office, they do have these trainings. They're not great, and they hope to change it in the future, which we're here now, right? Hopefully that change is happening now, right? But he was so friendly and so kind and open to suggestions. That was the key there. Because I had a couple of things that I shared with him about struggles that my family members have had, or that clients that I've worked with, and they've had interactions with police officers with their disabled loved ones. And he was soaking that information up and loved it. And so don't be afraid to share something like this. Talk about using a weighted blanket, see if that can maybe make some moves with the county. If the sheriff's office might be able to utilize something like this. Thank you, Teresa, for sharing this. This is awesome. Rolled them up like a burrito and everyone is safe and cuddled. Love it. All right. Thank you, everybody, for all the comments and your sharing your own stories and information. You guys are awesome. Okay. So as far as pushing for training, again, I told you that we're going to need your help. The state needs your help a little bit. So not me, but our community, the special needs community, needs the help of the special needs community. So we need to push for the training. We don't know exactly what it's going to look like with this master plan. We just know that there's going to be more training. And so we need to push for it. So ask your city council or county supervisor if your police department has received this specialized master plan IDD training. And so find out if they're already kind of ahead of the game and if they're already putting something in place. If it's totally new to them, you can be the person who introduces it to them, right? This is good stuff. No police department in their right mind is going to scoff at this plan. It's going to be something that probably most first responders and law enforcement officers want themselves, right? They want to be trained. And so ask your city council or your county supervisor if they're familiar with this plan and if they've received the IDD trainings that are being promoted right now. You can also request for first responders to include disability advocates in training sessions and policy reviews. I love that. If we can have advocates and people who are knowledgeable in that world on a professional standpoint provide their own professional opinions on the matter, even better training, right? What if it could be you? What if you yourself as an advocate, you're a parent of a loved one with special needs, and you have some powerful tips you want to share? You could be a part of the training process as well. I love that idea. I think it's great. And shout out to Teresa, by the way. She is the woman behind the keyboard who helps control our Facebook streams here on StreamYard. And she's the one that's dropping the comments that are linked to Galt Advocacy. She's also the one that helped me put a little bit this outline together. And so, Teresa, I really appreciate it. You made it very, very easy for me to understand because I'm not good at outlines. All right. Building an understanding and preventing the tragedy. We're going to jump into that for a moment, okay? So mutual respect between law enforcement and the special needs community is absolutely possible, right? And so with education, empathy, and collaboration, and your help to intervene and connect with your county, get them educated, all of that can happen. And so we hope that this master plan can recognize some of those concerns that we all have in this community by taking these trainings maybe out of the hands of the individual departments and creating it as a more something statewide, where the state is accountable for these trainings. So I'm sure that there are county offices, sheriff offices where they have their own training kind of in-house that they budgeted for, that they made, that they love, where the next county next door hasn't done any of that same training at all. They've never had anything like that. And so it'd be really cool if it became mandated statewide for all of these departments and offices to have this very specific training where it's unison across the state, and we never have to worry about engaging with an officer or a first responder who's not appropriately trained, right? Okay. But real change like this will come from the community's voices, right? This master plan is great. It has some great stuff in it in regards to this specific aspect, but it's not perfect. And it's going to require us to be vocal about each individual's own experience and ideas. So that's why I am pushing for you to connect with your community, connect with your police department, connect with the sheriff's office, connect with the first responders, and share your thoughts and ideas. If we're all asking the same questions all over the state and we're all pushing our own ideas and thoughts on how we can make it better, that's when things change, right? Excuse me. And if you have any more tips and ideas, please share. I'll go back to your comments here, see if I left any. Vilma said, that's my son. My son did that yesterday. I'm frustrated with them. I'm not too sure what you're frustrated with. What exactly did your son do? Because now I'm frustrated, Vilma. What did he do? Thank you all for being here, by the way. Don't forget to like our page if you're not already following or liking here. Also, check out our YouTube channel. We're trying to grow YouTube as best we can. Not everybody has Facebook. And so we know a lot of people are on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. And so we're trying to kind of expand a little bit so that we can connect with as many people in this community as we can. So if you're able to share this stream and also go to our YouTube channel and follow our YouTube channel and share the same stream, that goes a long ways. That's a big help, not just for us, but for the people who are looking for this information, right? Okay, so if you want to know maybe where to find some more help, maybe this stream is not enough. I don't blame you. Who am I, right? What do I know? So contact your local regional center. You can ask them to connect with, have them connect you with your local safety programs and crisis planning resources. So again, every area is different. Every county is different. Every town is different. And so they're all going to have different resources and different programs and plans. And so I would highly recommend you connect with regional center. That's one of the recommendations. Connect with your coordinator. You can also connect with Disability Rights of California. If you don't know what Disability Rights of California is, you're missing out. Okay, check them out. Disability Rights of California is basically every state has a disability rights, and then the state, for the most part, to my understanding. And so it is basically free legal aid in some sense. And so it's a nonprofit, I believe it's a nonprofit organization that is literally created to inform you on everything they possibly can related to the special needs world. And so Disability Rights California is what you need to know here in California. And so they will offer legal advocacy and support for people with intellectual disability who have had problematic encounters with law enforcement. So if that's you, if you have a child or an adult loved one who is intellectually disabled and there was a bad interaction and you feel like action needs to take place, you need some advice, you need some counsel, legal counsel, Disability Rights of California. Check them out. I'm sure most of you probably are familiar with them. You've probably checked out their website before. On the IHSS front, they got the nuts and bolts. They're kings of the nuts and bolts, and that's great. That's a great resource for you if you're trying to learn about IHSS. They've got a lot of other things they can help you with as well. So contact your local office, Disability Rights of California. I want to say there's like 8 offices across the state. So you can reach out to one of those offices. Okay. The R of California, is that Oracle or the ARC? Oh, I'm sorry, the ARC of California. Yes. So this is Orca. I think it's Orca. That's what I've read before. So Orca frequently holds trainings and webinars on this very issue. So reach out to the ARC of California, ARCA, I think is their acronym that they use. And apparently they have trainings and webinars in regards to law enforcement interacting with the developmentally disabled. And so if you're interested in that, check them out. I might even check them out. I wasn't familiar with that until recently. And so I'm going to look it up myself and see if maybe I can attend a webinar or a training session. And I can repeat back to you guys what I find out. But don't wait on me. you do it yourself, please. I want you to reach out to them, learn from them, attend a training, attend a webinar, soak up this information as best you can. We also have First Responder Disability Awareness Training, FRDAT. This is a national program with training materials and resources. You can check them out on frdat.niagara.edu. Teresa, if you can pin that in the comments, that'd be wonderful. Teresa's already on it. You've got Disability Rights of California in the comments. Teresa, if you can pin that other link for the First Responder Disability Awareness Training, that would be awesome. That's the www.frdat.niagara.edu. That'd be great. Thank you. We've got a good chunk of people here, and I don't see any new comments. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Does anybody know about this master plan that we're talking about? Because we know a lot of you shared one of our recent posts about it. And thank you, Teresa. We have the ARC. Oh, it's ARC, just the ARC, not ARCA. Okay, so it's just the ARC. That's what they go by. So check them out. But yeah, this master plan for the developmentally disabled, if you are familiar with it, if you have read it yourselves, I am curious to hear your thoughts. Please let us know. Because so far, everything seems pretty good. It's kind of like surface level because they have a little bit of everything. So we talk about often, this is kind of a coin, or a term, not a term, but something Myra used to say a lot when she started advocating on a professional level, that there's no, like, when you give birth to a child with autism or you adopt a child with Down syndrome like she did, you're not going to be met with like this like information hub. There's, especially 20 plus years ago, 30 years ago, it wasn't like that at all, right? There was no Facebook we can turn to for help. And so it kind of felt like a fend for yourself situation. It still feels that way, right? A lot of you are shocked when you hear about things like IHSS or regional center, what they can offer, right? And so it really shouldn't be that way. There really does need to be a system in place. And so she used to kind of make a joke that there's no like special needs Bible that we can turn to. Here in California, there's no special needs book, pamphlet, something. And so when you get the diagnosis of autism or intellectual disability at the hospital or at the psychologist's office, it's just kind of a pat on the back and a good luck, right? That's kind of all it is. Same thing with the school. The school will say, hey, this is what we've uncovered. We're going to set up an IEP. We'll take care of little Johnny. And that's about it. And then it's up to you to do your own research and studying. And it feels, and I could be wrong, but it feels like this master plan hopefully is kind of going to become that special needs Bible that I think we've all been wanting. And so it may not be that glorious or that, again, profound in some ways, but I'm hoping that maybe we in this community can have our voices heard to make it that way. Where I did read some of it where it talks a little bit about how Regional Center, IHSS, and some of these other programs, they're going to have this outside accountability partner, which is phenomenal. Because if you know anything about IHSS or Regional Center, they're amazing programs that are ran by imperfect people, which makes for messy results. And so if you have a great service that is awesome, but then you don't share it with people, you don't grant it to people, it's very frustrating, right? Or you don't inform them about it, right? A lot of people will go years without knowing that they could get free diapers from Regional Center, and they've been paying for their own diapers for years, right? Or that their child can get full scope Medi-Cal through a waiver at Regional Center, right? These are things that a lot of people don't know because nobody told them. They had to research it themselves or come across, a Facebook stream, right? Or a random YouTube video they found, or a friend who had it for years and never thought to bring it up, right? It shouldn't be left up to the community just to share what is available to the community, right? There should be a system in place. There should be a special needs Bible where as soon as you get that diagnosis, you are given everything. Not too much, you don't want to be overwhelmed, but enough to where you can have a good start, and then you can continue learning and continue getting the information you need that can make your life fruitful and better when raising a child with special needs. Thank you, Teresa. Appreciate it. Andy, You are so right. It's been 35 years of darkness. I'm so grateful for the extra brainstorming and ideas to help families like mine. Seriously, the struggle is real. The darkness, that's a very interesting term, Andy. There is a term within this community. Some know it, some don't. It is the dark cloud. And this that we're talking about is the dark cloud, right? When you get that diagnosis and you're not given any help, you enter into this dark cloud as a special needs parent or a loved one. And this is something that Myra discovered many, many years ago after she lost her son, my older brother, Ryan. He's the reason Galt Advocacy exists. And it wasn't until he was on his deathbed that she learned about a lot of the things that he could have had for many years. And not just have, but qualify for like the maximums of all these things. And it would have been a ton of help, right? And so that's the first door to the dark cloud. When you open up that door and you start entering into it, you start uncovering all of the darkness that you're referring to. The darkness is obviously part of it is just not knowing, right? It's the ignorance that we all have going into this new world of special needs. The other part of it is the allocating of services and funds and all of these programs, right? So with school, a lot of you are very familiar with an IEP meeting and how miserable it can be, where little Johnny is nonverbal at age 6 years old and receiving 30 minutes of speech therapy a week, group therapy at school. So you go to your school district, you have an IEP meeting, you say, hey, my child's 6, they're nonverbal, and you're giving them 30 minutes of group speech therapy per week. I want to change that. I would like to have an hour of one-on-one per week. That doesn't sound so crazy, right? And then the school ridicules you. How dare you ask for something like that? That's way more than any other student here has. There's no way that can be approved. There's no way. We don't have the funds for it. We don't have the resources for it. We'd have to hire a whole new teacher, educator for that. And all you can say in that moment is, so what? Not my problem. Not my child's problem. That's a you problem. Right? If my child qualifies for an hour a week of one-on-one speech therapy, then the school district has to provide that, right? But and that's just one example. And so with IHSS, kind of the same thing. These social workers with IHSS, they don't have this special training like these law enforcements are hopefully going to have, right? So when they go into your home and you're explaining to them about behaviors that your child has, eloping, headbanging, whatever it is, and they don't understand that because they don't have training on it, actual hands-on experience. IHSS kind of does that on purpose, in a sense. And so I'm not going to say anything further on that note, other than these things need to change because it's creating this dark cloud of, I don't know what to do. There isn't anybody to help me. And when I reach out to help, when I reach out to these programs who are supposed to help, I don't get the help that I need. And it needs to change, right? So Andy's been in the dark cloud for a long time, Andy. You know how to navigate it, I hope. You're a veteran in that world. Priscilla, can I get one for my son? He's a client of San Andreas Regional Center. Can I get one for my son? If you're talking about the ID card from Regional Center, then yes. Contact Regional Center and ask them about it. They should be able to help you. Teresa, many of us are so overwhelmed with what we are experiencing that we forget we are a part of the community with a voice and power to make a difference. Now, if we only had the energy, got to have my daily dose. It starts with coffee and then my Coke Zero. However, I don't have the same stress as a lot of you right now. And so I completely understand not having the energy to go to your county's office. If I am already burdened by this, that thought of having to make the call and call my local office, attend trainings, I get it. It's miserable, right? But if we all band together and we talk about the normalcy of it, we make this normal, we make this necessary, then things will change. So let me know. Let me know who is interested in that. Let me know who's already planning on attending a training or going to their sheriff's office or finding a police officer they can talk to or an EMT to start talking about some of these ideas. Because if we're just talking about it with them, I feel like that's enough to maybe make some changes. I'm sorry I didn't catch. What is the ID card? Oh, so Angelica, earlier today, it was one of, I don't know, maybe like 30 minutes ago we were talking about it. We were talking about how having an ID card for your loved one who is developmentally disabled may be pretty helpful when it comes to assisting law enforcement or first responders, God forbid something were to happen. And so you can contact your local regional center if they are a client of the regional center. and they can provide you with an ID bracelet, a keychain, a necklace. They also have, they can help you with Angel Sense. Angel Sense is an awesome company. I highly recommend you guys research Angel Sense. It's like a tracking device that also can have like personal information on it for law enforcement, to my understanding. Great information. You can also contact the local registry at your sheriff's office or your police department, and you can ask them if they have any ID protocols, like what are the best practices in your county, like what can you do to assist the police officers when it comes to identification. And if they're like, oh, just get the ID card from regional center, perfect. Then they have experience in that. It's really simple. You just call your coordinator. It's really simple. Nothing is simple. Why did I say that? It's not. But call your regional center, talk to your coordinator, and ask them about the ID bracelet options or ID necklaces or whatever they might be, ID cards, right? Whatever they might be able to provide you. Andy, it is still dark, but the last 4 to 5 years has had light. And Galt Advocacy was a huge asset to assist switch a light on. Thank you, Andy, for the kind words. I really appreciate it. I'm glad you're here with us. I'm glad we get to connect with you and hopefully shed some light on these programs and this topic. But ultimately, Andy, we're one big team, right? We all get to work together. Teresa says, if these lives have been helpful for you, please leave us a Google review. Yes, please. That'd be wonderful. Let's all leave a review for Teresa and talk about how amazing she is with tagging necessary things in the comments, pinning these emails and these web addresses. God, I could not think of the word. If you have a moment, make a quick Google review. Shout out Teresa. And any information you have in regards to maybe what we have said that could have been helpful, we would love to see your review. If they aren't helpful, and still leave a review about how much you like my shirt. Thanks, Teresa. Appreciate it. Product of my wife. That was something I was not prepared for getting married. Nobody told me that when you get married, your wardrobe becomes dressed by whoever your spouse is. I didn't know that. I don't dress my wife. I don't buy her clothes. I can't. But a vast majority of my clothing now is Costco, Sam's Club, and whatever's discounted at the local outlet. But no, my style, my fashion has nothing to do with me. My wife dresses me. Angelica, thank you. Glad you're here. All right, everybody. I think we're just about out of time. You guys are awesome. If you can share the stream, like it, tag a friend, tag the support group that you follow that might benefit from hearing some of this information. We would really love that and appreciate it. And we know that it is a big help to bring people in to hear about these things. Again, this type of change, this type of topic that we have here, it's only going to grow if you are sharing and talking about it. And I'm not just talking about our stream here. I'm talking about the topic, right? Helping our local law enforcement, helping our first responders understand the world of the developmentally disabled, right? It's a complex world. You as a family member, a loved one, probably wouldn't even consider yourself an expert, right? It's a never-ending learning curve. And so I can't imagine what it is like to not be in that world and have to learn. Right. I have been blessed and very fortunate to be surrounded by the world of special needs. That's the life that I grew up in. And so I'm very thankful that I have this knowledge and this experience and stories like Emily eloping and ending up in a different home a mile away, messing with the DVD collection of that poor couple. But not everybody gets to have those stories and those experiences, right? And so a lot of these law enforcement and first responders, they probably don't. And they probably need more training. They probably need those experiences that they hear from you, right? And so it's on you guys. It's on us as a community. Let's go out. Let's attend those trainings. Let's start talking to law enforcement. Let's start sharing this master plan and maybe providing some tips and ideas to grow it a little bit more with other ideas that you might have. But that's everybody. I hope you enjoyed this today. I hope you all have, at what time is Spanish? 1 o'clock. So in about 8 minutes. At 8 minutes, Nicole's usually a little late, but Nicole is our advocate who goes live and speaks Spanish, the same topic. So if you haven't watched her before, check it out. It's our Galt Advocacy en Español page. Nicole will be on for 45 minutes to an hour, just like me. and she'll talk about the same stuff, but in Spanish. So if you speak Spanish, check her out. If you don't speak Spanish, check her out anyway and try and follow along. But that's it, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you, Alma, for the comment. And thank you, everybody else, for all of your great tips and thoughts and suggestions and your personal stuff that you shared. I love it. I know everybody else loves it in the comment section who's here to listen to you. Nicole is on Nicole time, not late. Well, you're right. You're right. Nicole will be on time. Her time. Check her out, guys. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. I hope you all have a wonderful Friday. Hope you all enjoy your weekend, and we will see you next time. Bye.